Hey roadies, this is Adriana from Roadie Free Radio. In this episode, Larry talks to tech guitarist Claire Murphy, who has worked with artists such as Vance Joy, Elle King, Babes in Toyland, Dum Dum Girls, and several other more. In this short clip, Claire gives us a rundown on her tour process where organization is everything. Her go-to tools, a drill and a tuner. That's all you really need. If you want to hear more about Claire, make sure to check out the full episode number 162 from March 10th, 2020. Thank you for listening, and thank you for subbing. Here are Larry and Claire.
So now I know two of you, and you're the
We're
first
out
one
there.
on the show. You're out there. Yeah, definitely. Now, were you a guitar player as well? There's a few pieces of the story I don't remember because it was NAMM and it was crazy, but were you a guitar player who was looking to like go out there and rock and roll or what?
Yeah, I was a guitarist. I still am a guitarist. I was in a couple of bands. First of all, I wanted to be in a band, but that failed. Was it like 0.1% of people are actually going to make it as musicians, I guess. But then I realized what I actually wanted to do was tour, and it didn't necessarily mean being in the band. That's what I was craving, was touring and the buzz of the live show. I didn't need to be in the band. So once I figured that out, it's like, oh, well, this is probably easier to go and do.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, maybe it's not easier than being in the band. But, I think a lot of people, a lot of techs, they come from that background, failed musicians, wanted to be on the stage. But, I think the problem is when you still yearn to be in the band, then you just end up being resentful for the people you're working for. You're like, I'm a better player than you. I deserve to be there. I don't care. I want the fans to have a good show. That's what I'm there for. I want to keep the artist happy, put on a good show, because I used to be that fan, still am. And so I love it. I love the energy of a live show.
Yeah. Yeah, you're also, you not that other bands aren't like this, but obviously, but a couple of the last artists that you've been with, obviously you're with Vance Joy right now. And Elle King. I mean, they've got some great dynamic songs. I just was listening to a bunch of Vance before the episode, and pardon I'm late 40s. I'm almost 50. So the younger generation wouldn't have this problem, but I sort of lump that sound into. I wasn't sure that he sang a couple of those songs. I was like, oh, that could be the Lumineers, whatever. And then I was like, oh yeah, no. He's great, and they're upbeat and energetic, and I'm sure that those shows and Elle's stuff are great shows to be on. So I'm sure the energy for you on stage translates, and you've got your hands full with a lot of acoustic instruments.
Yeah.
So you're
busy.
My God. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've managed to get it so it's a guitar change every song almost. So be indispensable. I think that's potentially in the book. I can't remember. Point number 6: be indispensable. Yeah. Make yourself indispensable, and then you'll always have a job. But yeah, he has lots of different tunings, different, to the layperson, it's just another acoustic guitar, but it sounds different.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, he has. I always say I work for Vance Joy, and nobody knows the name until they hear Riptide or Fire in the Flood, and like, oh, it's that guy. But the audience is, we play arenas in Canada and obviously Australia. He's huge because he's Australian. His fan base is massive, and they're all, it's a varying age actually, but there's a lot of like younger girls, and they just are super excited. Yeah, super nice. They're so nice. They bring us gifts. His manager Rachel, they bring gifts for me and her and James. It's very, very sweet.
That's
very
awesome.
Nice.
That's very cool. Yeah. So what does a day off look like for you with all those guitars? Is it a true day off, or are you restringing and cleaning and fixing?
No, I do everything on show days. So days off are days off, which is why I love being just a guitar tech, because I used to tour manage, and you never had a day off. Right. So, I have an actual day off, and I'll work out usually. I'll work out and find a coffee shop. That's pretty much all I do on my days off.
Drink a lot of coffee and go to the gym.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I did.
That's pretty great that's pretty great though, with that number of instruments, that you are able to take a day off. I've had Doug Redler on the show. I don't know if you know who Doug is, another guitar tech, been with Rich Robinson and Slash and whatnot. And Rich, has a ton of guitars, electric guitars, all different tunings and whatnot. Doug's told me he spent a lot of his days off fixing guitars and restringing guitars and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool that you found a way to sort of balance that a bit.
Yeah, I think probably you said Slash, right? He probably has like 30 electrics that he needs a strings changed every day. I work it out with the sound guy whether we rotate the string changes. So he doesn't play that hard, doesn't sweat that much, and it's maybe 3 songs per guitar per set, something like that. So it's
so they
every
can last.
every couple of days I'll do like 2, and then the next day I'll do the other 2, and then we have a couple of ukuleles, and so I never restring those. They take forever to get back into tune. And then the electrics. I have it on it like a schedule every couple of shows. It's every day I'm restringing, but I'm not having to do it on my days off.
All of them, yeah. And just for those folks out there, again, you just wrote a book on how to get into this, so someone might want to know, how do you keep that organized? Do you have a little notebook with like the Alvarez or whatever he's playing, is on this day, blah blah blah, is an Excel sheet? What do you got?
Just in my head, actually, but I do have a notebook of maybe different measurements if we're going through crazy, weather, hot festivals or whatever. Actually, I did at the beginning of the tour, the last big tour that we did, I sat down at the very beginning and wrote down. I lie. I say it's in my head. I did actually write it down. I did write it down because we had so many dates. I just wrote out all the dates and wrote out when I would be changing each guitar. So yes, I did have it organized like that.
That's cool. Ahead of the whole tour. Yeah,
I wrote the whole thing down. We had like 50 dates or something. Otherwise, I'm thinking about the last tour we did, which was with Pink last summer, and it was one show day every other day or something. So I could keep track of it pretty easily, and we had a shorter set. So, but when we do our headline tours and we're out for a long time, yes, I do write it out, and you do have to be pretty organized, actually.
Yeah, sure. What's in the guitar case, your workbench? What's in there? What's got to be in there for you?
Oh my God, my number one is the my drill with the little peg thing. So you wind the strings with the drill. Yeah. I go to a guitar shop in Long Beach, and one of the guys used to be a tech. He has one, and the other guy, he does it by hand. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't even imagine going back to doing it by hand. Yeah. It's like, you can restring. Well, that's how Slash's guy would be doing it. So many guitars every day. It's like so much faster, 10 times faster. That's if I fly and I have to we do a lot of fly dates, we have to condense down my work box. That's number one. That has to go. Yeah. That tuner, cable. That's really all you need.
Do you have? Do you use multiple tuners? I've seen guys with 3 or 4 different tuners up there of all different kinds.
I do. I flip flop. I have the Peterson Strobo tuner. I have a TU2. The guys on stage are using, in Vance Joy, TU3s. So I remember my mentor, Mark, back in the day, he was like, whatever the guys on stage are using, you should use the same thing. So I always try to have that as the main tuner, whatever they're using. But then I also have a needle tuner if I'm doing intonation, things like that. But you can. I go back and forth of having 4 different tuners and then just go into one. It's like when you read the internet about things, it's like everyone's got an opinion on it, and I go back and forth on it. I have a couple in my big work box. I have the Peterson and the tune and the TU3, and another one that I can't remember the model name of. It's a Boss one, but then when I fly, I just take a TU3 because that's what they use, and it's good enough. Yeah, I know people will say whatever, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So it's fine for the couple of festivals that you're doing when you're playing.
Right. And you've been with them for 3.5 years. You're doing something right. Clearly.
Exactly. This is all part of, like, you start off as a girl doing this, and as women, we're always like, we don't have any self-confidence, and we need to be able to do something really well before we feel like we can say we do it.
Hey, what's happening, roadies? It's Larry here. Just wanted to thank you so much for listening to this short clip. I really hope you got something out of it. If you can take 2 seconds to head over to iTunes and drop us a review or a comment, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Keep listening, keep coming back, stay healthy out there, and remember, no roadies, no rock and roll.